Welcome back again to another one of these episodes. I really should try to find a name to this, but that takes a little bit of thinking, and my creative mind hasn't been as sharp as it used or usually is. My sleep patterns have been all over the place, and then I'm trying to kick this cold or whatever I got. So the best way that I kick my colds is the natural way. So if you look, I don't know if you can see inside here. Whoa. We got a little bit, we got some coconut protein, got some MTC oil, we have some strawberries, bananas, maca powder, pineapple, and mixed berries. This stuff is the real deal McFeel. Straight up, for real. That's the other. I never really understood. I think I saw something the other day, and it was like a McDonald's bag, a diet soda, and some dessert. And it was like, I've had a cold for 4 weeks starter pack, and I kind of laughed at it because I've seen people and they'll have maybe like a cold or some type of sickness, and they just never think to change what they put inside their bodies. But to each his own, you know. If that's what makes you feel good and that's what tickles your fancy, by all means, you keep doing what you need to do. But my colds anymore, this congestion stuff usually, it'll last for maybe 2 or 3 days, and then it's done with. So, but today's message, I wrote this down because I'm trying to get in the habit of writing things down, but habits, it's like, well, we won't even get into that. But today is, and then I wrote this down because I knew I'd forget, but I often think about and reflect on my life and things that I've done and how I've gotten to where I am today and who I am today. And along the way, there's been things that have there's been highs, there's been lows, there's been in betweens, there's been trying to find myself, there's been this, that, and the other. And I talk to and I hear younger people talk, and um, I'm not saying that I know everything or have the magic pill, but it dawned on me the other day of sometimes we as individuals have to lose ourselves before we find ourselves. So we have to lose ourselves sometimes to find ourselves. And then the other thing is sometimes we have to do things that we don't like or the things that we need to do to get to where we're going. So what do I mean by that? So if you look at, maybe you have goals written down on a paper, or maybe you have a vision to what your life is supposed to look like. And along the way, you veer off. Instead of going right, you go left, which is fine. That's just life. It's all about adapting. But sometimes you have to do the things that you don't like to do in order to get to where you are going. And far too often people think of, well, I'm not at a place that I should be at. Well, I'm 23 or 24 or 25 or maybe even 30. And I don't like what I'm doing right now. It makes me miserable. The thing that I have found, and I've been at jobs and I've done things that have made me extremely unhappy when it comes to career development or trying to find what I enjoy in a career. But what I find is there is always, 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 always a lesson in some of those jobs or positions that we may not always like that ultimately helps us get to where we are going. And in this day and age where it's instant gratification and we want affirmation and we want things microwaved, we want it now, it's very, very difficult for people to understand that patience, it's all about the long game. You see people trying to get involved in trying to get rich fast. for lack of better words, that shit doesn't happen. If you look at, I think Kevin Hart was one of them. He said it took him. I may be telling a little bit of a lie, but I think he said something more 10, 11 years before he really started making traction and really for his name to start growing. I think there was, oh geez, I think it was maybe it was Sam Walton. I can't, I can't remember. But if you Google some of these very successful entrepreneurs and businessmen and business owners, you'll find that it has taken them years upon years and upon years to get to where they're going. So as we try to microwave success, it just one or two things happens. When you try to microwave success, there's typically failure because you miss the experience that you need to have a successful career or a successful business. And then secondly, when you microwave things, it's just not as authentic and it's not as pure. And looking on how many of these successful people have gone through many failures and they fail and then they try to figure out where they failed. I think Einstein was another one. Failed many times before he was really known for many of his creations. And so I see many younger people nowadays, they just want it right now. And like I said, it doesn't happen that way. So we often have to be in a position of doing something we don't like in order to get to where we are going. Now, that's not in all cases, but in some cases, in many cases, there are just stepping stones that we have to go through in our lives to develop us before we get to, I'll say, the gold. Think about, we'll take LeBron James, for example, or we'll take Michael Jordan, for example. How many years he struggled winning a championship, and then he figured it out. It took him many years to learn, okay, this is how I need to play. And then the addition of Scottie Pippen and others helped him along the way. You look at LeBron James, there was a stretch where he'd get into big games and he'd just completely melt or disappear. Now he's changed and he's developed and he's figured out ways, okay, this is what I need to do. So that's my point is, we far too often, I went through the same thing as I always wanted everything microwaved. I wanted it right now. I thought that, I could put in 6 months of work and then have it right now, but it doesn't work like that. And the more and more we do that of trying to have something microwaved right away, we place way too high of expectations on having something now that when it doesn't come now, we get discouraged. And then we try it again and we get discouraged. I went through the same thing, same thing. So if I could leave anybody that is one, maybe creating a business, or maybe people that are going through school, getting to maybe a master's degree or PhD or whatever it may be, or they have some vision for their life, we can't microwave it. Embrace some of those situations that you're in of, maybe there's a job you're in and you don't like it. Try to figure out ways that you can utilize that job that you're in that'll ultimately help you to getting to where you're going. Maybe you're at maybe you're flipping burgers and you don't really see any value in flipping burgers. There is value in flipping burgers, and that is be good at what you're doing now. So then when you have the gold, you can utilize some of those same habits when you get to the gold. And this is something I learned a long time ago, is even though I may be in a job that I don't like, I'm still going to show up and I'm going to give it, for the most part, 100%. There are times where, especially when you have management, this is back in the day, when you have management that doesn't really care about you, then it makes it a little bit difficult to continue giving 110% for somebody that doesn't care for you. But there are other positions that I've been into where people genuinely cared about what I was doing and what I was providing, and I ultimately used some of those tools within the business that I had at one time. So there are different ways that we can look at some of the positions that we are in, but if we look at it in a negative way of, man, I don't like this job and this sucks and I wish I was doing that, you have the ability to change that, but you have to create certain habits and then make that change to get to where you're going. So this week's message, nice, short and sweet for you. Maybe it's this week, maybe it's next week. I don't remember. I make these videos on the go and I forget what week I'm on sometimes. But if I can continue providing you with value, if I can continue providing you with motivation, I'm going to continue doing so. Like I said, I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy helping people out, and I enjoy growing with other people. So again, if there's any, I've had a few people reach out to me, and they've mentioned different things and different topics that they'd like me to talk about. So if you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about, feel free to jump in the DM, shoot me a message on Instagram at KOATSC, and be sure to follow me on YouTube at k.o.coats, because there's many more videos that maybe you missed. I think this has been going on for maybe 8 months now. Maybe 8 months. Been doing this for 8 months. And I've got maybe 30 plus videos. So there's a lot of videos that if you just go back and you just listen to them, maybe they'll be able to help you out with something or some position or an area in your life that you see could be developed. So I hope you enjoyed this week's message. Always leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And until next time, we'll chat soon.